guys, it's Vanity, so back to Carpe Vanguard Ezel and Vanity weekly review, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't like, comment, subscribe, and subscribe. This time we're covering more reviews from set 4. They started last week, and now we're kind of continuing in with them. We got some pretty decent cards, along with the new Baromagnes form, so now Bushy is literally going to have a boycott on their hands if they do not give us a new Eugene, because they've proven they've given it to everyone else but Eugene. So let's get the start and see what we got. First one today, we have Headlace Assault, Grade 1 Boost, 5k Shield, 8k Base, Act Drop Zone. If Vanguard's a Grade 3 or Grade 2 Shield Fister in the card name, Energy Boss 3 calls card to an open rearguard circle. Shield Vanguard's 5,000 power for that turn. Okay, all around pretty solid, you know. The Shield Fisher deck that was meant to be a joke that I made a while ago slowly but surely is getting support, because I mean this can call itself to rear guard for just only Energy Blast 3, which is pretty solid, and it's a 13k, actually no, it's not 13k, it makes the Vanguard a 23k. I'm pretty sure Shield Fisher was either an 18k base or 15k base, but either way, it either makes the Vanguard a 20k or 23k for the swing for the turn, which means it's at least a 15k drop for one to pass. All around, Headlace Assault is a very good Grade 1. I do like this card a lot. I think it's a solid card supporting it, so 3 over 4 of. Then we have Tidal Explosion Dragon, Headlace Dragon. Such a cool looking card, an okayish sounding name for, again, what is Bushy's attempt to just make a bunch of generic splashable cards, more or less splashable. Grade 3 to 15k base, continuously cannot be ridden, and if you have not used a divine skill this fight, you cannot attack. So essentially right now, Zorga or Levidras I think is, well, both of them are actually pretty accessible, thankfully, on the first Grade 3 turn, so you can use this almost immediately. And then auto rearguard, when it attacks into anything, it gets 2,000 power for every 5 cards and drop. Why? No, let me rephrase that. I know why they had to make that 2k, because if they didn't, this card would be Skull Dragon and D on steroids, considering what they can do. Ahem, Hedrina. But all around, Headlace, it's not a bad Grade 3. It was so close to being really good, but it is what it is. It's a 2 over 3 of. It's not horrible. It definitely could have been better, but it's not horrible. Then we have Haunted Ballroom, a Grade 3 normal order by playing by Energy Busting 3. Tell me I'm not the only one that sees, for some reason, when you first look at this, like the Palace of Agrabah from Aladdin. That's literally what I saw the first time I saw it, and I don't know why. Anyways, Energy Blast 3, normal order, choose 2 cards from drop, shove to soul, then if your soul is 10 or more cards, choose one of your Vanguards to give it 10,000 power for that turn. Okay, honestly, pretty solid. It's a free soul charge 2 and to give someone 10k. It's not bad. It could have been better just by not being Energy Blast 3, because a lot of Dark States cards probably have a good amount of Energy Blasters, but it could definitely have been worse, and it is a decent tech card if you have the space for it, so I suggest as a 2 of. Then we have Great Axe, Rending Colossus. Okay, so while this card I will defend more or less, I'm not going to defend this one. Grade 3 to 9% 13k base, continuously cannot be ridden. If you have not used your divine skill this fight, it cannot attack. And auto rearguard when it attacks, it gets 2k prevent time battle for every 3 cards in your soul. Okay, a lot of Dark States decks, unless you're going to build your deck specifically around this, will not get to the point where this card is inherently good, compared to this one, where yeah, you still have to technically build it around this, but you can just play old Zorga or Zorga now with Hedrina, and you will more or less be able to pull this off relatively consistently without having to worry, because Hedrina itself makes you mill a bunch, and Zorga inherently uses Hedrina consistently. So while this card, in my opinion, is really just good because of what deck it can fit into, this one, well, yeah, it's a little bit more generically splashable because not every Stoicheia deck mills. This card is not going to get decent numbers, or at least in my opinion, decent numbers, or in numbers I would expect this thing to get to be good, but it's a 2 over 3 of tech if you want to run it. Then we have Steam Fighter Lavalna, Grade 2, Grade 1 Boost, 5k Shield, 8k Base. Continuous Soul counts as a Grade 3. It took me a solid 5 minutes, and by solid 5 minutes, I mean it took me a day and then to watch W/'s video on this to immediately realize that this card is just brought for me to support, which is weird because this came out the same day I did the Bar for Media's video. Anyways, auto rearguard when it boosts. If you have a Grade 3 Grade Vanguard, give it 2k for the battle, and if you do, at the end of the battle, put this card to Soul. Okay, send yourself to Soul, makes you get Grade 3s. Technically speaking, you can also use for Favenio, which is pretty solid, but honestly, I do like her a lot. I think she's a good Grade 1 support card, so 4. Why are the Grade 1s being so good lately? I don't know why. Then we have Pesquit Miasma. So this is the new Barrow cards that we've been waiting for the entire time, and I hate this ride line. The only reason I hate this ride line, by the way, is because this ride line they could have given to OG Barrow. I do not know why they chose to wait. How long has it been since Barrow was released? Barrow was released in set 1 of the OG series. So 12 sets plus 4 more. They waited 16 sets to give one of the most, like, just solid ride lines of all, and only the Grade 1 is actually generic, and even then the Grade 1 requires the Grade 2 who isn't generic. I do not know why this took 16 sets to get, but anyways, prerequisite Miasma, Grade 1 Boost, 5k Shield, 8k Base, auto upon Sanctuary, but when rolled upon by Sanctuary Tamer, Soul Charge 2, the choose one Vanguard to give 5,000 power for the turn. Okay, all around pretty solid. helps increase your soul. I like how it kind of matches the artwork of Uncanny Burning, I think its name was, where Uncanny Burning was green, and then you went to Deep Sonicer, who's blue. I like the fact that this is green as well. And it's a free soul charge too, so my one annoyance with like the Barrow line not really soul charging that much outside of having to take hand cards to do so, this one just does it by being Rotapod, and then makes the Vanguard 15k swing for that turn. So, you know, if you don't want to call a booster, don't have to. 15k is now a 1 to pass, or so pretty solid, so one of him. Then we have Sanctuary Tamer, grade 2 and 5k, short 10k base. Okay, I do kind of hate like how they transition colors again, but at least this one's not like just a random one in my opinion. And it was auto Rotapod by a grade 3 card Barrow in the card name. Cool, works with either Barrow, soul charge 2. Then you may choose a grade 3 level card from your soul, call it to rearguard circle. Cool! So if you soul charge a Brainwash, for example, and wanted to set up BS combos, or you soul charge an important piece in your deck, you just call that. And if you don't want to call because it's a May clause, you can just soul charge 2. Sanctuary Tamer is a very solid grade 2. Again, I only hate this line because they genuinely could have just given this Barrow line to OG Barrow and it would have been fine. But hey, you know what? I'm glad we're getting it now. They're really cool, and now my bar is set so much higher for when they give us Eugene, because they've given us a new line for Barrow. They didn't give us one for Orphis. To some extent, they gave us one for Zorga, depending on how you look at it, and they didn't give us a new one for Hexa. I expect that new Eugene line, and I expect that new Eugene grade 3 to be goddamn based. Anyways, then we have Providence Disorder Baromagnes. It took me so long to realize Baromagnes was a rocker, and honestly, if it wasn't for a certain specific card from beforehand, I probably would have never figured it out until Providence Disorder, only because Disorder reminds me of rocking for some reason. And it was grade 3, 10% 13k base. Gotta love the moon in the background. Continues Vanguard during your turn. This unit gets 5,000 power for every card in your soul of Baromagnes in the card name. Okay, while he does not persona right off the OG Barrow, while the OG Barrow does not persona it off of the new one, at least there's reasons to run the old one, because more barrels in soul means more consistent 5k. And now the Vanguard, when it swings into a Vanguard, CB1 perform all the following according to number of cards in your soul. So instead of getting the 5 or more effect, which is kind of annoying, it does make sense considering what its skill is. Tenor also, considering the fact, you know, the Ride line gives you a free Soul Charge 6, or Soul Charge 4. Technically, it's 7 because you have 1 from the starter, 2 from these 2, and then, or it's a 3 in total, and then plus the 4 from their Soul Charge effects. Anyways, 10 or more cards in Soul. Draw a card, he gets a crit for the battle. Okay, so he's pretty much the combination of the first 2 skills of Barrow, and the reason why he doesn't get the power unlike before is because, technically speaking, he can get even more power because he gets 5k for every Barrow in Soul. So say, for example, you have 2 by the time you do that effect. You know, he's a freaking 23k swing, so he's getting the crit anyways in the draw. But, you know, if you have more barrels, it's technically better. Anyways, there's 15 or more skills, almost the exact same as his original one, but in its own right, slightly worse, slightly better. You choose as many of your opponents and your rear guards as you want. So not all of them, you get to pick, and then you send all of them into the respective souls, and then choose 2 cards from your soul, call and rear guard that give us 7,000 power for the turn. This part of the effect is the exact same. You get 2 cards from soul, they get plus 10. The part that changes this part, where you don't send everything to soul, which means you can boost Barrow finally, but and you can also move many of your opponent's rear guards as possible, so you want to keep something on their board because maybe they can't get rid of it for whatever reason that may be. You can force them to keep it, or you can just choose not to give them the soul cards because their deck needs a lot of soul. But on the downside to this, it's now a choose ability. So say, for example, your opponent has cards that says they can't be chosen, or they have resist. Well, Barrow can no longer touch them compared to before. So, you know, it's 50-50 on that effect, but again, this way you want to run multiple Barrows, not just to get this extra 5k, but so you can change Barrows whenever you need to get the skill. I mean, it's the same soul drop anyway, so it's not like that's going to change. And then 20 or more, they just chose to throw on a 20 more effect, because why the hell not? Until the battle, when your opponent will call cards from hand to guard circles, will call 3 more at the same time. Okay, cool. I wish this was for the turn, but fair, considering the fact that it does require 3, and you're going to get 2 more attacks after his. He's not bad. I will say this. I do like the Rider line a lot more than I like this, because this just feels like, compared to the other grade 3s we've gotten that are like retrains, they feel like they're more like flashier of upgrades. This just feels like it's a direct upgrade with like a slight change in skills, but I'm not against this because, again, it feels like a consistent upgrade. It changed from getting the power from this skill to just gaining power overall and could possibly be more. This skill is literally a combination of the 10 or more soul skill and the 5 or more soul skill. This skill is almost the exact same, just a difference of wording, which actually does make it a different skill entirely. And they throw in a third effect, which could end up making the difference at the end of the day. So I don't hate this grade 3. I do think the ride line's a straight up plus for me, but I'll take that as it is. And then we have Dance of Awakening Marfall, this great one that I teched in solely because I like her artwork and nothing else. Great one boost, 5 Kasho deck, base auto rear card at the end of she boosted. If you have 10 or more soul cards, retire her, choose one Vanguards with Bear on the card name. The cost that unit's auto boost used by CB1. Okay, I rarely have a CB problem with Bear. I have not had a CB problem in a while. I will never use this card skill. It is a vanilla whenever I call it. But hey, you know what? She is nice. I like to look at her. And I mean, you know, worst case scenario, CB1 reduction, so 3 over 4. Then we have President of Glory Morox, who I had to read several times to make sure I was understanding the skill correctly. Also, Moon in the background, pretty cool. Also, I just really love like the crimson, what's it called, cape. Anyways, grade 3 10% 30k base. Auto when placed on rearguard circle, Vanguards are grade 3 grade barrow. Again, I love the fact that they don't restrict on which barrow it has to be. Soul charge 1, then this you get 5,000 power for that turn, and then you make counterbots 1, choose any number of enemies from your soul, bot or shuffle them back to deck, and then it'll get 5,000 power for every card chosen by this effect. So technically speaking, if you just want to yeet your soul into the oblivion because you need numbers, or for example, if swinging with barrow would kill you and that extra crit is not going to make a difference, and maybe this ability will make a difference, who knows, depending on how much cards you have in soul, you just Morax, get them all back, get numbers, swing for lethal. Honestly, Morax is not a bad grade 3. It's a better version of that grade 2. I think it's like Keelney or something that was from, I think, set 3 where it could do almost the exact same thing, except this card also gets you soul on top of it and is at least an 18k swing that could possibly get more numbers if you want to recycle cards. I like the card a lot. I think it's great. And my barrel build, I think I run it as a 3 because I do run 3 copies of OG barrel, but if you want to put it at a 4, I could definitely see why. Then we have Moment of Silence, Shuellen, grade 2 and set 5 Kasho, 10k base, all in place from hand, where you may reveal a grade 3 card with Barrow on this card name from your ride deck. If you do, or your Vanguards are grade 3 or grade Barrow on the card name, choose one of your cards from your drop zone, subject to soul. Okay, so this turns every Barrow in your deck into discard fodder now. And if your Vanguards are grade 3 or greater Barrow, it gets 5,000 power for that turn. All around pretty solid, 15k swing. It's a free soul charge. I do love how they're bringing back the effects that require you to have a specific Vanguard or like reveal something of that Vanguard's name, kind of like how the End of G support had that, where a lot of them were like 10k bases and they would lose 5k if they didn't reveal something. I always found those really cool, so I like how they're having them back now. And then auto and put into your soul from rear guard by the ability of a grade 3 or greater Barrow, draw a card. Okay. Downsides to this, it could deck you out because it's a mandatory draw. Upsides to this, it's a free draw. So all around Shullen's pretty solid. I would run it as a 4 of anyways, just because again, free soul, free 15k, and not to mention the fact, you know, possibly free draw. So she's pretty cool in my opinion, 4 of. And then we have this really random promo grade 3 that I was 50-50 on even putting in the slides. Anyways, I introduced Astrom to Welstra in secret, hashtag Blitz Company Black. I understand none of that. Anyways, act Vanguard once per turn. Actually, I do understand a little bit of this. I kind of know that, I think, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but like Black is a Japanese YouTuber for Vanguard, quote unquote. It's something. There's a reason why this is called specifically Black. I'm pretty sure that's the reason. Anyways, act Vanguard once per turn, discard a card from hand, choose a product card from order zone, operate it, and then if your order zone has 3 more sellers in it, gets triple draft for the turn. Okay, this is Welstra. They have so many consistent ways to get the order zones out. You're fine. And then also it's just any orders. It doesn't specifically have to be a product. But and then anyways, auto Vanguard once per turn when this unit attacks a Vanguard. Counterbots 1 2 rear guards and stand it. Okay, cool. It's a good thing Welstra got a lot of like battle phase operators, though now that I'm thinking about it, how many of them require Welstra? I know Freiheit requires Welstra to be on Van for the free set. I don't remember if he requires it to be on Van for the product card activation during your battle phase. And I'm pretty sure Troll requires you to have a Vanguard with the Divine skill, which implies that it's Welstra for that 5k. In hindsight, how... Well, then to be fair though, this card does actually have Welstra in his card name, so never mind. Take this as you will. I'm not going to describe any more of this than I have to. And then we move on to our, Triumph Dragon card. So glad to see them. I love this card. She is so beautiful. I now have a reason to make a Triumph Dragon deck in set 4 just because I love how she looks, or at least like temporarily change some artwork on my channel for this. Anyways, drag with Ameena, grade 1 boost, fat Kasho, AK base, auto spist on rear guard circle. Choose a grade 3 greater card with Triumph Dragon's card for your drop zone. You may bot deck. If you do if you did pick a card, check top 5 to once drive command dragon from among them, reveal, put it to your hand, shuffle your deck. If you put a card, choose a card from your hand, discard it, because you keep that 2,000 power for that turn. When will the day come where they send that stuff to Soul to make these cards a little bit more powerful? I get that they're afraid of like grade 1 or like grade 3 rushing an opponent while they're at grade 2 and getting extra crits out of it. But man, she has such a badass art not to be a double rare and be able to do that. She's amazing. I love her art. I love her skill as much as I wish it was sent to Soul. Still a good card nonetheless for me. Easy 4 of. Then we have Dragritter Rashad, Great Turn set 5, can show 10k base. Okay, again, love the art. Reasons to make Triumph Dragon in set 4. Continues rear guard during turn. If you have a Great Turn, get a Vanguard Triumph Dragon with the card name. It gets 5,000 power for each of your opponent's rear guard retired this turn. To my memory, Triumph Dragon only retires 1 rear guard. Maybe 2. If you make your entire deck around this 1 card, it could possibly get 3 to 4 retires. But typically, this unit is only going to be getting 15. And by 15, I mean a 15k base for the turn. But you know what? It's fine. And it can change rear guard. If you have a Great 3, get a Vanguard Triumph Dragon the card name. All of your opponent's rear guards in the column business unit cannot move to other rear guard circles or guard circle. Active all players' turns. Okay, this card is not bad, especially because it works in the back row. So if you want to be that player and just shove this thing behind both rear guard columns, you automatically give an FU to the opponent because their entire back row and front row is stuck where it is. It's never intercepting, and if you kill any of their rear guards, they got to replace them from hand. Rashad, this card's going to make Triumph Dragon a control deck. I can already foresee it. I see the toxic Triumph Dragon players already. They're going to triumph over everything. 4 of this. Then we move on to Showering and Counter Annasia, grade 3 10% 30k base, or 15k base, continues cannot be ridden. If you have not used Divine Skills, fight it can attack, standard ability, then auto rear guard. When she attacks, for each of your rear guards, she gets 2k for the battle. Why does she have to counterintuitive her own Divine Skill? You know, we don't know that yet. Supremacy's Divine Skill may make her useful, but as of now, Chris Rain will never use her, at least not until the late game, because you can't use her until you use Chris Rain's Divine Skill, who bounces her back to hand, so you don't want to call her to board. And then, when you eventually do call her back from maybe Chris Rain's Divine Skill, you don't want to do it from that, because you're going to have no rear guards. Like, this grade 3 is not bad, but at least in Chris Rain, you're not running this. It's a dead card on the turn you're supposed to use your Divine Skill, and Chris Rain is all the help she can get. Supremacy is going to be the card that either saves this or breaks this, so 2 over 3 of maybe. Then we have Dinner Alone in the Back Alley Panny. That is such a sad name for such a cute looking card. Great on boost, 5k show deck, get base. Auto when she's boosted. If you play 2 more orders this turn, she gets 10,000 power for that battle. Okay, 18k booster. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head who can make 2 orders a turn outside of, okay, wait. No, Fennel, Lutetia. Lutetia can't. Lutetia can. No, she can't. So Fennel and fuck, what's the one? It's Willistas, that specific grade 3 whose name I'm forgetting. It's Altiv or something. So yeah, not bad, but like kind of still specific in Lyrical Monsters board. There's an 18k booster, so there's that. So 2 over 3 of. And now it's on to our final reveals. So we have our first Destined One Levidras. So all of them are dragons for some reason, which is not something I realized till after I read their name. We have Stagnant per dragon, the grade 0 of the ride line, just an auto road upon for a second draw card, nothing too special about it. Then we have Score Piercer Dragon. It's a grade 1 with boost, the 5k shield, 8k base, etc. etc. Contains Vanguard. If your soul has Stagnant in it, you can ride Mantha Scythe from your ride deck without discarding a card from the hand. Okay, it's one of the, I guess, generic ride deckers, which I realized the fact that they didn't explain his skill, but they explained Mantis Scythe's skill in the anime more or less, that this was probably free ride deck. But considering the fact that the way Kuon played the deck was so aggressive, I'm willing to give the free pass here, because anything aggressive has my bias towards it. So also I just really like how this thing looks, so I'm fine with the ride deck discard here. Then we have Mantha Scythe Dragon, who has an Energy Blast skill, which entertains me a lot, because at first I thought he was the only grade 2 ride line card that required energy for his skill, and then I immediately remembered Welster's grade 2. But anyways, Mantha Scythe Dragon, auto road upon by a grade 3 Levidras on the card name, Energy Blast 3, look at top 5, choose up to 1 grade 3 less card from one of them called, or put it to your hand after revealing it, and then shuffle your deck. All around pretty solid, so it's a way to add more cards to your hand. It's literally any grade 3 or less card, which means this thing can search PGs. And I immediately like Mantha Scythe, so yeah, the ride line's pretty solid on this one. Then we have Destined One of Infinity Levidras. Okay, I was really curious to see how they would word this skill. Honestly, I think I just overthought it a lot, because I thought they were going to make it 2 separate skills. Anyways, grade 3 10% 13k base, act Vanguard once per turn, counterblast 1 to choose one of each of your and your opponent's rear guards, and put an Infinity Eyes marker onto each of them, so free Infinity Eyes marker. For the record, this is the Infinity Eyes marker. It literally does nothing but be a marker. Levidras is the only thing that does something with, well, the other units do something with them, but Levidras is the only one that makes them, and the only one that makes those markers actually have an effect. Because the second ability is Auto Vanguard. When either player's unit on a rear guard circle with the Infinity Eyes marker attacks or boost, you may have that unit either get 10,000 power or lose 10,000 power for that battle. For the record, you can choose your own unit to lose 10k. There is no benefit in doing that, but it is a choice if you want to like CB starve your opponent but still get on attack effects, which
Honestly, yeah, in hindsight, Levidras might actually be meta for that reason alone. And then the other ability is if your opponent's unit gets minus 10,000 from this ability, not your unit, your opponent's unit, that's why I said there's no real purpose in this, you have to remove the Infinity Eyes marker to draw a card. All around, it's pretty solid. He guaranteedly buffs up something or minuses something. Again, you can choose to CB starve your opponent just to proc off on attack effects, which is nice, but like 9 times out of 10, you're only going to give your unit 10k, and you're going to make your opponent's unit lose 10k, so you can get a draw card, which is all around pretty helpful for defensive capabilities. Then his Divine skill, Act Vanguard. If your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 or greater by Soul Blasting 1, choose one of your and your opponent's rearguard circles, put an Infinity Eyes marker onto each of them, and he'll get plus 10 as power and a crit for the turn. So going second, you can either do 4 to 5 attacks in a turn, while also making your Vanguard a 23k double crit swinger. Okay, sure. Cool, fuck it, why not? This card is honestly pretty good. Like, I can definitely confirm that most likely going second with this deck, its first grade 3 turn is going to be its most powerful turn. Going first with this deck, its second grade 3 turn will be its most powerful, especially if you go Persona right. But is what it is though, it makes a Infinity Eyes marker pretty easily. It literally F's over both your opponent, but also giving you free benefit in so many different ways. And not to mention the fact this Divine skill is simplistic, but is actually really good in my opinion. So I think this card's amazing, and I cannot wait to test it out after this. Then we get the Infinity Eyes marker, like I said earlier, it's just a marker, it has nothing special properties to it. Then we have Packclaw, Huntsman, Huli, grade 2 instead of 5k shield, 10k base, she's here for all the furry players. Auto and place on rearguard circle. If you have an Infinity Eyes marker, let's say column as her, counterboss 1, choose up to 1 grade this card from your drop zone, call it to rearguard, and if there are 3 more Infinity Eyes markers, she'll get plus 10 power. All around pretty solid because she gets you a free rearguard back, who can possibly get 10k. This deck definitely uses up a lot of CB, and we only have 1 counter charger, but it's worth it because, she gets you rearguard, she gets you numbers in this deck. Like I said, can get 5 attacks on second grade 3 turn, or first grade 3 turn, depending on the order of things. So for Huli, she's pretty solid. She gets rearguard, what's not about her. Then we have Knight Evolutionary Stance, Silence, Clarence, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, AK base, auto rear guard, and then by the way, he attacked or boosted. If your Infinity Eyes marker same column as him, and you did not countercharge this turn, Servant to Soul, countercharge 1. All around pretty solid. The thing I love about this is a lot of the cards that support Infinity Eyes markers don't have to be on the Infinity Eyes marker circle, they just have to be in the columns. So say for example your opponent's playing a deck that locks you up from moving your rear guards, like the Triumph Dragon card from earlier, you can just put the marker in the same column and still get the effect. And I'm pretty sure in the same column also applies to your opponent's rear guard circles. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but either way though, Clarence is pretty solid. Gets you soul power, which granted this deck doesn't eat up soul at all, but it gets you soul power in case you do end up using more generic soul chargers, and it's a counter charge fodder, so 4 for me. Then we have Searching for Infinite Knowledge. It's our normal order. It's a grade 3 card. Energy Blast 2 with a Vanguard Levidras card name when you play it. Choose a card with grade less than equal to your Vanguard, call from the drop zone, and then it gets 5,000 power for each of your Infinity Eyes markers on the rear guards on the same column as that unit. So again, if it counts your opponent's rear guards, there's a chance it could get plus 20. If it only counts yours, there's a chance it gets plus 10. All around, Searching for Infinite Knowledge is nice considering the fact that the only card in the deck that actually takes up EB is Manti Scythe itself over here, so being able to spend it on getting more rear guards back in a very, as we saw with Kuon play, aggro deck and get more numbers out of it is pretty solid. I do like this order a lot, and I honestly just love its artwork, so I'm going to make it a 3 or 4. Then we have my favorite card in the deck in terms of artwork because it has butterfly wings, and anyone that has met me in real life knows I am obsessed with butterflies, and I will be the type of person that gets distracted by them by the second they fly in front of me. Full Knowledge Foxel. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, continues rear guard during the battle of the booster. Your Vanguards are grade 3 or greater Vanguard of Levidras card name, plus 5,000 power. Here's the confirmation that anything with the Divine skill is going to have this 15k booster, or 15k booster behind them. Then on a rear guard, when it boosts a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Levidras on the card name, if your opponent has an Infinity Eyes marker, it gets 2,000 power for that battle, and then counterboss 1, choose one of your back or rear guards until end of turn. This unit can attack from the back, that unit can attack from the back row, and it gets 10,000 power. All around pretty solid, being able to buff up your back or rear guards, so even if they can't, no, let me rephrase that. They still get the ability to attack from back row regardless, and they get the 10k, so even if it's not worth swinging from back row with them, you're still able to give them plus 10k. And not to mention the fact that the only requirement of this is your opponent has to have an Infinity Eyes marker. It's a simple CB. Your opponent can be at grade 2 for this. All around Foxel is a very nice grade 1. I do like it a lot. Easy 4 of. And then we have our last card, Onfall Anotogaster. Grade 2 instead 5k shield, 10k base. Auto and puts on rearguard circle. If your Vanity has markers and Calm has it, cast Energy Blast 3, check top 2, choose a card from among them. You have to look at the top 2, by the way. Put one into the hand and put the other at the top or bottom, and this unit gets the power for that turn. So all around pretty solid, you know, it's a check top 2 and pretty much can just stack your deck. Sadly, you do have to add a card to your hand, so if you see double triggers, one of them you're losing one of them, but I mean, at least it goes to the hand. And then it continues rearguard during turn. If you have 3 or more, if your Vanguard's a grade 3 grade to Levidras, and you have 3 or more Infinity markers, or if there are 3 or more Infinity markers in general, not just on your board, but your opponent's board as well, 5,000 power, and if there's another rearguard with the same card name as this unit in your back row, it can attack from back row. Okay, things to dissect on this one. A, this doesn't require the opponent to be a grade 3, meaning regardless of who goes first, you're getting 5 attacks if you have both these two on board. But if you go second, you also get a Vanguard that has double crit behind this. But on top of that, this thing, like the Varga card, has 2 different abilities, technically speaking. One that, well, its ability procs regardless if it's in the front row or back row, but if you have 2 of this on board, as long as only one of them is in the back row, it can still attack from back row, and both of them will still get the +5. This card's really good. I like it a lot. I'm definitely intrigued to try this deck now, so easy 4 of. And speaking of which, that's it for this one. I hope you all enjoyed. Honestly, I've been looking forward to this one the most. This was the most visually appealing of the Destined ones to me, and I think Bushy did a really good job with their skills. So I will see you all in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join us on Twitch, and don't forget to set up your Vanguards.